Hi everyone, my name is Christina and I'm an implementation consultant at Prosymmetry. In this video, I will be reviewing attribute management in Tempus. This tile allows administrators to create and manage custom and system attributes to use throughout Tempus. In Tempus, you can create different attribute types, customize attribute layouts, define attribute permissions, and much more. So let's take a look at how this works in Tempus. All of your attributes, which are used to describe your data points, are created and managed in Admin Settings and then the Attribute Management tile. In this tile, the tabs at the top will tell you which kinds of attributes exist in Tempus and tells you which tab you need to be on when creating that type of attribute. In each tab, you will see any existing attributes for that attribute type, including system attributes and custom ones that you have created in your own environment. So we can see the different kinds of attributes you can create are related to projects, resources, assignments, milestones, financial categories, and our SPM or Tempus portfolio tile. To create new attributes in any of these tabs, you will do that in this window here. First, you will give the attribute a name, and then you'll choose from this drop-down menu what kind of attribute it should be. As you can see, there are a number of options of different attribute types, and I would definitely recommend consulting our help center if you want more detailed information about each one and its possible use cases and implications. The most common attribute types are ones like Boolean, which is a yes or no type field, number, date, currency, resource or resource lists, which allow you to choose resources from the pool of resources in your system, and selection type attributes or multi-select with a selection or pick list of options. Once you've selected the attribute type, you can determine if it is read-only, meaning it's not editable, whether it is unique, meaning it has to have a unique value associated, or required to fill out by your end users. You can also enter a default value if you need to. Once you've got all that established, you will go ahead and click Create Attribute. Once the attribute has been created, it will appear in your list of attributes below. And then there are some additional management options on the right-hand side next to each attribute. So let's go through those. So for this one, this is a custom attribute in my system called %complete. It is a progress bar type of attribute. If I click the pencil icon, I can go in to edit this attribute. I could change its name. I could even change it to a different kind of attribute type, which, a caveat there, if you do this, it will result in data loss. So before switching to a different attribute type, make sure you download the information associated with this attribute first so that it can be re-imported to the new attribute type. I could change its default value and change these settings here as well, or delete the attribute entirely. The next management option is this button, which would take you to the audit log to see any changes made to that attribute, a trash can to delete the attribute here as well. And then this person icon with the shield is attribute level security. So you can, at a more granular level, define view and or edit access to this individual attribute here, and do that by individuals, so individual resources, or by global roles or even security groups. These same attribute management options will appear on any resource or assignment or milestone tab as well. These same attribute management options will appear on any of the attribute type tabs as well. On some of the tabs, you will also see this attribute layout tab. This is where you can customize the attribute page for that kind of data point. So when you're on the project tab, you can customize the attribute layout for your project records. If you're on the resource tab, you can customize the attribute layout for your resource records, and so on. So going into Tempus, let's go into a project record actually, and take a look at the attribute page of this project to show you what we're talking about here. So this is the attribute page of Apollo Phase 14 and all of my different projects and the attributes that I have decided to pull in here that show what kind of information do I want to collect about my projects within this attribute form. I can edit this form and change which kinds of attributes appear here, change the order of the attributes in different sections, all within attribute management, and then in the attribute layout tab of whichever attribute type I am adjusting. So here I can organize these sections, I can change section headers, I can choose to make them expanded by default, I can open them up to see which attributes are in each section and even reorder them by dragging and dropping them or using the up and down arrows here. I have all of my, in this case, project attributes on the right-hand side to choose from if I did want to potentially add new ones into my form. I can, again, reorder anything within the sections. I can also go to my Elements tab here to add new sections if I want to, and give it a name, choose whether it's expanded by default, hide it potentially. I can insert lines to create dividers throughout my form to separate different sections. I can insert text as well with different sizes to maybe give a little more context about what each section represents. And then when I'm done or as I'm making adjustments to this form, I can always click on the blue preview button here to see what my form and layout will look like once I've saved it. So again, you can edit the attribute layout page for project attributes, resource attributes, assignment attributes, as well as milestone attributes. And that is a really helpful thing when you want to figure out what do I need to capture for all of those different data points. Going back to the attribute management tile, there are two attribute types I'd like to discuss in a little bit more detail. The first being selection type attributes and multi-select attributes. So these type of attributes, let's just choose selection to give you an example. When you select them, they're going to give you a few more customization options when you are creating them. So you'll see if I were to go back to a Boolean type attribute, I've got a different layout here. Let's go to maybe currency. I've got those standard read-only, unique, required options here. But when I go to selection or multi-select, you'll see that I have a couple of other options here. One is I can add background colors to my selection values. So I can choose option 1 to be blue, option 2 or selection value 2 to be green, and maybe 3 would be yellow. I can also add icons to each selection value that I want to display when something is selected. A color will need to be associated for these to appear as an aside. But I've got all those options there. I also have the option to toggle on a numeric values to associate a number if someone were to choose that selection value. So numeric values make it so that you can use this attribute type to generate a numeric value and use it in a calculated field. So let's take a look at an example of an existing selection type attribute that has numeric values associated. And as I scroll down my list, I can see a tag for any attribute that has numeric values associated. So when this is toggled on, I can see that for this project attribute called size, all of my selection values have a numeric value associated. Then what this allows me to do is use that value in something called a calculated field, which I will find at the bottom here called score, to use that in an expression to generate an overarching score for my project. So this calculated field can use any kind of attribute that has numeric values associated, or other kinds of expressions can be built out here. But this is particularly useful for when you want to come up with some kind of priority score, which I will show you in just a moment. So to write the expression for a calculated field, I can start by typing some quotation marks, and all of the available attributes that I could potentially pull into a calculated field will appear for me. I can see here on the right-hand side too that a little green check mark will appear once the numeric expression is appropriate and can be used to calculate some kind of numeric value. So let's go over to another tab of Tempus and go to my project management tab. And I've got a view pulled up to show you those different kinds of attributes. And the different kinds of configurations you can make. So I've got a project attribute called portfolio here just to show you how the background colors may be displayed, as well as icons. You can see those here over in my project status attribute. I've also pulled in my size attribute that I also have numeric values associated with. So you can see when I can choose from the pick list of options, those numeric values are displayed here. And I've also pulled in my calculated field of score, showing you how this score is generated. You cannot edit it here because it is based off of the combination of two other project attributes that have numeric values associated to them. You can also see a couple other examples here of different kinds of attributes, like what a progress bar attribute might look like. I could show you. You also see a couple other examples of different attribute types and what they might look like a progress bar attribute type, as well as a currency attribute type, what that would look like here. So you've got a lot of different options, a lot of ways to configure your attributes within the attribute management tile. And this wraps up this video. I would highly encourage you to check out the Help Center articles on attributes, or speak to your customer experience representative as well for any additional help. Thanks and have a great day.